Hi everyone, Dan here. Going to do another video for you to make a little high-low game in Visual Basic. We're still at the very beginning stage of making games, so I've made a Windows Form application in Visual Basic and I've created a label called LBL number and two buttons BTN low and BTN high. Now what I'm going to do is if you roll a 3 for example, you might think the next number is going to be a 6, so you'd bet high. And if it is higher than a 3, you'd win. If it's a 1 or a 2, you would lose. The first thing I need to do is program the dice itself. So I'm going to get the form to load up, which double click on the form there. It takes me to form load. And I'm going to get it so that you can roll the dice as the first thing. So I'm going to create the dice object with dim dice as normal. But instead of it being an integer, I'm going to create it as a random. So it's a random variable. Now the actual dice throw itself is going to be an integer because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, or 6, and it's going to be if I use dice.next, it will actually create a new random value. Now, if I wanted between 1 and 6, you'd think that you do 1, 6, but actually you do 1, 7 because what that means is the lowest random value is 1, and it's got to be lower than a 7, so that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. The next thing I'm going to do is actually display the value of this dice throw on my label. So my label is called label number, and the text on it I'm going to make the same as dice throw. Let's just test that works. So I'm going to compile it. So it's now changing my code into machine code so that the computer can understand it. And there we go, it's a 5. Let's just try that again, make sure it's not a number 5, it's a 1. So now I want to program the buttons so that it will either bet low or high. Now, I'm not going to program this the most efficient way using subroutines, but that's because we're still very, very beginners at coding. We can add subroutines a little later. Now what I want to do is remember what the last dice throw was, and I'm going to call it old dice throw, and I'm going to set that to what the current value of label number is. Then I'm going to throw another dice, and as I said, this isn't the best way of doing it with copy and paste, but it'll do for now. I'm going to copy and paste it so it does another dice throw. And now I'm going to compare the old dice throw to the current dice throw. So, if the current dice throw is less than the old dice throw, that means they've guessed correctly. So if they guess correctly, we'll give them a little message. Correct guess, well done. Obviously if they didn't guess correctly, we'll use an else. We'll just put another message box. Wrong guess, bad luck. Watch my speech marks in the correct place there. Oh, missed a parentheses there. Any errors? No, that looks good. Right, let's test that, shall we? See if our button low works. So it's a 3, let's guess it's lower. It's a 5, wrong guess, bad luck. Low, it's a 6, wrong guess, bad luck. Low, it's a 5, correct guess, well done. So it's correctly identifying whether or not a low is correct or low is wrong. Now let's do exactly the same with high. Now again, this is not the best way of doing it, but it'll work for now as we're beginners. Just going to copy everything from low and high, and there's just one thing to change. Have a little look at the code. What do you think that one thing is? That's right, people. Instead of a less than, we want a greater than. Now, let's play our game. Of course, there are many things that you can add to this. For example, if you roll another 2, is that lower or higher? It's neither. So you should be able to bet that it's the same. You can also add the ability to have a score. Every time I get a correct guess, it gives me another point. Every time I get a wrong guess, maybe it docks a point off there. You could also add some nice colours and make it look really, really beautiful to make it a perfect game. Good luck guys, and thanks for watching my video.